Hey, good morning, Joe.
Good morning, love.
Fantastic. How are you?
I am bueno.
Okay, brilliant. So today, like we said, we're going to look at our experiment results. And then we'll take a decision about, what we think was happening when you were tasting the things that you were tasting. Remember, if we recap, when we looked at the tongue, we said the tongue had
5 main tastes.
Okay.
Yes, but one of them, people didn't really think about it or mention it too much.
Fantastic. But when I was teaching you, we mainly discussed how many?
4.
Which are?
Sweet, salty, sour, and bitter.
Fantastic. And then I asked you. Yeah, go on, sorry.
If we were to mention the 5th one, it would be umami.
Oh, brilliant. Because I was going to say, and I asked you to go as your homework to find out what the 5th test bud was. And so now you know. And if you were to describe umami, how would you describe it?
Umami is like a savoury taste, I found out. And some people will describe it as spicy, peppery.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah. Brilliant. So now, I know that when we were starting the lesson, I accidentally already said 5, but I had wanted to say 4 and then ask you to go and find out about the 5th one. So now we know that there are 5. What else happens when you eat food? You can either use the taste buds to taste the food, or what happens to the food so that you can taste sweet?
Or the amylase, which is an enzyme, because as you already know, any enzyme ends with A's.
Yep.
ASE. So amylase, it breaks down starch, sugar.
Fantastic. And as part of your homework, did you find out how long it takes for amylase to break down starch into sugar?
60 seconds exactly.
Oh.
Well, not exactly, but it can be like 60 seconds or maybe a bit less.
Okay, brilliant.
Or a bit more.
Okay, so we can say the average is 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that I did not tell you how quickly you taste things in terms of tasting the taste sensations of salty, sour, bitter, sweet, and umami. However, it's because how do you taste them? Do you remember we said what happens?
The taste buds. So when you eat the food, the taste buds, they have nerves.
Yeah.
And they send electrical signals to the brain.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And then the brain, I think they send the electrical messages back to the tongue, so it will actually know what you're tasting.
Fantastic. Yeah. And that takes. Did you ever find out? I know I didn't ask you to find out, and I'm happy to tell you if you didn't find out.
All I know, it's really quick.
Yeah.
Is it? I think this is a hypothesis.
Yes.
Just a guess.
Yes.
Is it a fraction of a second?
Yeah, it's really quick. It's super quick.
Is it a quarter of a second?
It's super quick. You can't really put a time to it, but it's super quick.
Okay.
Yeah. Because in order for us to put a time to it, we'll actually have to do experiments to then determine. And I don't, it takes as quick as it takes for you to put something on your tongue and go, ooh, I can taste that. It's salty. When you put a bit of salt on your tongue and say, ooh, it's salty. So that's how quick it takes.
Oh yeah, so then it would be really quick.
Yeah. So
really quick.
So just to, so for example, think about it when you have like food, which say if you have a piece of, I don't know, let's say you eat
Potato?
Yeah, if you have a piece of potato,
Yeah, it does look like a potato because I have a potato on my plate. Then I look at it, it looks like a potato.
Okay. And then an enzyme has to break, you put it on your tongue, isn't it? You put it inside your mouth, and then what happens?
Well, then but first you would need to chew it a little bit.
Yeah. So when you are chewing, which part of the mouth are you using, and what's happening to the potato?
Well, you use the teeth so you can actually chew it.
Yeah, and chewing it starts with the letter G.
G.
Yeah. You say you are the teeth. What do teeth do to food particles?
Grind.
Yes. So those are the words that I need you to use in order to show that you remember the function of the teeth. So you put a potato inside your mouth, and your teeth
grind it.
Yeah.
And chew it.
Yeah, and your tongue.
Pardon?
And then what does your tongue do? Your teeth are grinding. And what is your tongue doing?
And mushing it.
Yeah, and mixing it with?
Yeah, and mixing it with saliva.
Yeah, and in the saliva we have?
Enzymes.
Yeah, and the enzyme that, will work on the potato, since potato is
It's a starchy food.
Yeah.
So that would mean it would be amylase that will break it down.
Yeah, so then we have... go on.
As lipase, which is another enzyme in the saliva, it only breaks down fatty foods.
Fantastic. So then the amylase breaks it down to little particles, right? And obviously we know that was a massive potato, so now it's broken into little particles, which are... So this was starch, like you said. What are these little particles?
Sugar.
Yeah. And sugar.
Oh yeah, sugar.
Yeah, and sugar is?
Sweet.
Yeah. And then yes.
So does that mean sugar has one of the sensations that you feel because of the taste buds? Sweet.
Yeah, which is exactly where we're going, because I was just about to say, because now then it's sugar. You've already told me the answer, because I was then going to say, then your tongue with its taste buds there, I'm just going to write it doesn't mean that the taste buds are located in any different corners of the tongue. It's just to illustrate, you remember we said the taste buds are the pimples.
Or somewhere around.
Yeah, they are all over the tongue. Yeah.
They're all over the tongue.
Yeah, and they are the raised little pimples on your mouth.
Yes.
Yeah, that look like spots.
Raised pimples, and then there's lots of taste buds.
Yeah. So if we just, say, then, that was one taste bud. So this is your tongue. And then that was just one taste bud. Let's just say we're picking one taste bud. Which is let's just say this one is the sweet one. So then the taste bud, remember, is under there, isn't it? So we can think of it as being looking something like that, because we want it to be able to send an electrical signal.
Oh yeah, because if it was at the top of the tongue, then how would it be able to send the electrical signals? Because that would mean there would have to be nerves
at the top. So the nerves are inside, within the tongue, and we can't really see them because the tongue has a surface like that you can see with the raised bumps, and then the nerves are under there. And when you eat, let me put these pens down so that I can show you properly. So we can think of the tongue as the surface with the little bumps, which are your taste buds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you eat your food, your food particle will sit. So this is your your food there. It's sitting on the tongue there, right?
Yeah.
And then the nerves are under there, right? And they are extending downwards, and then they go backwards and up to your brain. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So then there is our nerve, the nerve. And we'll just, although we know the brain is up there, we haven't got space to write it up there, so we'll just write it as being down here. So then the brain will be here.
Yeah, but as we all know, the brain is
at the top. Yeah, if we had
at the top.
Yeah,
top.
if we. Do you want us to cancel Mommy's results and then draw the brain here, or are you happy with it being there?
Yeah, I'm happy with it being there.
Okay. So then now we have, this signal. I'm looking for the red color which I had seconds ago. Okay, there we are. So then it will send an electric signal using chemicals. You don't need to know the names of the chemicals today, but one day I'll tell you about them. So it will end. Yeah, you need a chemical in order to start an electrical signal. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, things like you need things like sodium,
I've heard of sodium.
Yep, sodium. Yeah, is found commonly in the salt, because the salt has sodium and chloride, and it's on the periodic table as well.
That's probably the reason why I've heard of sodium.
Yeah.
Because of salt and also because of periodic
table. Yeah. So you need chemicals to then send an electrical signal to the brain. So let's say, okay. So then you need one nerve from under the tongue, and then it sends those chemicals to a nerve that then goes to the brain. Does that make sense?
Yes.
When these electrical signals touch that nerve, so what we're thinking of sending a message. So we have a potato sitting on the tongue, your taste buds, the amylase working on the potato and crushing it into sugar, your taste buds being, yes.
I thought it was breaking it down, not crushing it. Because how would the enzymes be able to crush something as hard as a potato?
Okay, sorry, yes. Breaking it down to sugar, and then your taste buds sensing that sugar and then sending a chemical signal to the chemicals which then generates electrical signals which go to the brain. And then the brain sends a signal back and says, yes, that is sugar.
Wait, so you mean it takes all of that work just to taste?
Yes.
Something sweet or salty or sour or bitter?
Yes, absolutely.
Or umami?
Yes. But remember, say if you're just eating pure sugar, you don't need you don't need amylase at all. It just sits directly on the tongue and it goes zoom to the brain and back.
Yeah.
So this is like, if we say perhaps 1 second, or if we say 1 to 2 seconds, I don't know, what number shall we say, 1 to 2 seconds? Or 3 seconds?
0.5 seconds.
Okay, 0.5 seconds, super quick. So we have this whole process takes that quickly. And what did you find out about the amylase?
The amylase is an enzyme that's found in the saliva and in the pancreas, in the pancreas, and the amylase breaks down any type of food that has starch and breaks it down to sugar.
Yeah, and how long does that take?
60 seconds.
Okay, so 60 seconds. Oh, it doesn't. I must have a larger blue. Oh, I do think. So that is 60 seconds. So if we were to go back to our experiment and look at the results.
Yeah, I was looking forward to this part.
Were you?
Yes, because I was just about to press down. Oh wait, can we go in now? Can we check?
Yeah, we are checking now. So when you had water, you decided that it just became a creamy taste. So as we know, water has no flavor, so it's a neutral.
Neutral.
Yeah. However, when you ate liver, you said it took 24 seconds to be bitter. Do you think the amylase or an electrical signal was sent to your brain?
I'm not sure how the amylase would be able to help break down liver because it doesn't have any starch.
Yeah. So
yes, it could. That means my tongue could have just tasted bitterness and then would send the electrical signals to the brain, and then the brain would send the signals back.
Yeah, fantastic. So I'll circle this in orange for the taste buds. So this would mean that it was the taste buds working. And then, but you drank some milk and you said after 1 minute and 30 seconds it tasted bitter. Your mom said it tasted sweet after 45 seconds. So what do you think?
I'm actually not sure.
Okay, I'll tell you that milk has a little bit of sugar in it. So I know I think because we were eating things one after the other, so it's possible that with your results.
Oh, it might have got mixed up with another.
Yeah, with another taste. So if we can use our control's results, even though we say the control is still part of the experiment. So what do you think what happened there?
Well, that would mean that our control, which is woman,
yeah,
that would mean that that would mean after 45 seconds,
yeah,
the taste buds were finally able to taste that it was sweet.
Yeah.
The electricals. So that means it was still that one is also taste buds because the amylase didn't do anything again.
Well, but you say the amylase can be 60 seconds or less. But it's like, for example, if we say the maximum that it can take for this to happen could be 5 seconds, since, as you know, if you are pressing the time to stop it, sometimes you might accidentally not stop it. So if we allow for a little bit of errors to say, the maximum that we can say is a test bud is 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So what do you think this could be?
I still think it would be but if it was only the electrical signals, then it wouldn't really. But that would mean it would be probably would be a lot less.
Yeah. So since it's a little bit longer, what do you think?
Well, that would mean it could be amylase, but then I'm not sure how. Wait, does that mean milk has starch?
Yeah, milk has sugars in it. So perhaps you can find out. Yeah, the sugars in milk.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I have a quick question.
Yes.
Where does bread? Is bread starchy?
Yes, I thought we were coming to the bread. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that could mean that there's only a slight chance that bread could get its starchiness from one of the ingredients. For example, milk.
Yeah, and flour as well.
Flour.
Yeah, and
I would say it probably will be flour.
Yeah, yeah.
From wheat.
And then, so shall we then go to rice?
Alright.
Yeah, it took you 3 minutes and 35 seconds to taste sweet. What do you think that was?
That was my amylase taking way too long.
Yeah. Well, sometimes sometimes it can take sometimes it can take way too long, for things to work, particularly if you have to keep chewing on it in order to break it down into really small particles. And then if we choose, do you still want to do bread, or shall we leave bread since you've already covered it quickly?
Yeah, I think we should still do some of bread.
Okay, so what do you think? Your bread was 23 seconds to taste sweet or almost bitter, and mommy, it was 1 minute to taste sweet, almost bitter. What do you think was happening?
Well, for mine,
Yeah.
could have been the amylase.
Yep.
It could have been the amylase, but it was working very quickly.
Yeah.
And then mummy's, it was definitely amylase, and it took exactly the time that it was supposed to take.
Yeah. Well, with the muffin, I think we could probably have to leave your muffin results, because remember, we're only looking for sweet, sour, salty, bitter. But then you didn't sense any of that. You just sensed
it tasted
chocolatey,
like chocolate.
because it was a chocolate muffin.
It tasted like chocolate because if it was the first time of me eating those muffins, then I would have definitely tasted one of the taste sensations.
Yeah.
But as I've eaten these muffins so many times,
Yeah.
I've already experienced the taste so many times.
Yes.
So then that could mean that my tongue's just get. Let's say that my tongue's just got bored of tasting the same boring tastes. So then I decided to taste something different.
Yeah, that is true actually. We'll look at that as well sometimes, which is why it can take longer for signals, because your tongue can get used to tasting that sensation over and over, and then it can take a little bit longer for things to happen. We'll look at that as well as what's learning science to know what that is. So then grapes, you said it took 3 seconds to taste either sort of the bitter, sour and sweet sensation.
Wow.
What do you think that was?
Okay, now I'm definitely going to say it was the electrical signals and taste buds.
Yay! Well done.
Because if it takes 3 seconds, I know that we even wrote from there that it can take up to 5 seconds, so that would mean it could also take 3 seconds.
Absolutely. Well, we're not saying it can take up to 5 seconds. We're saying it's super quick. But then in our experiment, remember, because I was using the mobile phone as the stopwatch, it's possible that sometimes when you try to stop, you might actually not stop, and so it might lapse. We have to allow for a little bit of lapses, but just as long as it's not too close to 60 seconds, then we can comfortably say it wasn't the enzyme, because the enzyme needs a little bit longer to work.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah. And then peaches, we'll leave your peaches because you did not like that at all.
No, I don't like peaches.
Yeah. And then you had an easy peel, and it was 12 seconds to taste sweet. What do you think was happening there?
Taste buds.
Yeah, but the only reason why it could take longer is because, remember, in order to enjoy this juice that is the sweet, you actually have to chew into it and break the membrane. If you look at a segment of an orange, it looks like this, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like that.
And then inside there are a little bit of
it's more straight. One of the bits.
Yeah, then inside there are a little bit of little sacs that have the juice inside them. So in order for you, if you want to taste this juice, which looks black, here I will just make it black so that we can differentiate. You first of all have to bite into this membrane, the outer one, break it, and then if you break the outer membrane, you then have to break the little membrane as well, and then the juice will be released onto your tongue.
Finally.
Yeah, finally, it is a longer process. So your teeth bite into that, break it, and then grind onto the little membranes, and then the juice is released onto the tongue. So you can see that perhaps biting into this might take 10 seconds.
Oh yeah, that I can understand.
Yeah, and then that juice then gets released onto your tongue. Yes, Joe?
Well, sometimes.
Yeah.
If I don't want it to take too long.
Yeah.
I decide.
Yeah.
Just all I do is simply. This is a simple thing to do.
Yeah.
Just do this, but make sure that you don't do it too hard.
Yeah. Or just squeeze, or just cut it and squeeze the juice onto your mouth.
Yeah.
Or just drink orange juice.
Oh, wow. Now I remember that when we had an orange, we made orange juice.
Yeah.
Well, that was an amazing orange juice.
Yeah, and it tastes sweet so much quicker.
Yeah, really, really sweet.
Yeah, so what, or did you already say what it was?
Yeah, it tastes good.
Yeah. And then we go into the biscuit. You said 13 seconds for it to be sweet.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think there?
10 results last time. 10 results this last time.
Yeah.
I just decided to get a biscuit.
Yeah. But do you think, okay, what do you think it could be that the biscuit, which when we look at it, we think that has starch. However, it seems to take a little bit quick for you to taste the sweet sensation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I thought that... That I'm not sure, because every other time I eat a biscuit, it doesn't taste sweet at all.
Yeah.
I just eat it really quick.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste sweet at all, so that would mean it would have to be the amylase, but then it's taken too quick.
Yeah, but also another thing could be that in the ingredients when you are making biscuits, sometimes when you look at some biscuits, you can actually see sugar particles on them, but they are trapped in the dough. So when you start to chew on the biscuit, you are just, untrapping them from the dough. Have you ever looked at some biscuits, and although it looks like a shape like that, when you look at it closely, you see white particles that actually look like sugar.
Oh, now that I think about it, and with some biscuits I have.
Yeah. So it's possible it could have been that, but not normally we would have expected a biscuit to take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Because And then salt. So we'll leave the biscuit as a question mark, because we are wondering whether the biscuit had actual sugar particles on it. That meant you actually tasted sweet before you had a chance to break. Yeah. And then you had salt. It took 4 seconds for you to say salty.
I would have expected that.
Yeah. So what do you think that was?
Wait. Taste buds.
Yeah.
Because salt is... Because sugar...
Yeah.
As soon as you think sweet, people would think of sugar or honey.
Yeah.
And then when you think salty, everyone will think salt.
Well, yeah.
Even it's salty, there's actually the word salt.
Yeah, absolutely. And then sugar, it took 3 seconds.
Yeah.
What was that?
Taste buds.
Fantastic, yeah. Honey, 6 seconds.
Taste buds.
Yeah. But then again with honey, you know that it's more of a liquid. So in order for you to then taste, that liquid has to then surround your tongue, isn't it? Whereas the sugar is already readily accessible because it's little tiny grains that just spread quickly on your tongue.
Yeah.
Whereas with honey, you sort of like have to spread it around and push your tongue against your hard palate.
Okay.
Yeah. And then crisp, oven baked crisps,
I said
28 seconds.
First I said cheesy.
Yeah.
Then it said no, I cannot say that. So then it said bitter.
Yeah. So it took about 28 seconds. What could that be?
Could have been the taste buds.
Yeah, and probably you could have been tasting the umami flavor.
Yeah, that's probably what I tasted.
Yeah, because you were not quite sure.
4 of them.
Yeah, you were not quite
If I were to say umami, I
Yeah.
would have said that.
Yeah, and you were not quite sure how to describe it. You were thinking, what could that be? Yeah.
It tasted. Now that I think about it,
Yeah.
if I were to think about it, it actually tasted a bit sharp.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. Mhm. And actually, Mommy seems to have tasted a bit more umami in her taste. For example, in that. That's the time to remind me to start doing my work.
But we haven't even got to do the.
Yeah. Well, we'll allow 5 more minutes. It's just a reminder. And then, okay, shall we move on? So anyhow, This experiment was for us to, to put together exactly what happens when you eat food and then what is at play as well. Mostly for us to know that in order for enzymes to work, they need a little bit more time because they first have to break down food into simpler particles. However, if it's taste buds, it's direct, it's quick, it's super quick because you miss out that part.
Yeah, because it could even take 0.1 seconds.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
possible.
Yeah. So let's just clean this out. Or shall we just talk about Newton quickly and then we'll start on Newton. Anyhow, as you know, have you had a sip of water, by the way?
Yes, I literally just did.
Oh, okay, good.
You even saw me. I was like this.
Oh, well then, okay. It doesn't hurt to have another sip of water. Anyhow, as you remember, Newton was... Sir Isaac Newton.
Yes, Sir Newton.
Yeah. So Sir Isaac Newton... Do you know which queen knighted Sir Isaac Newton?
No.
Queen Anne, but Mummy will teach you about all the monarchs.
Henry Richard. I already know most of the British monarchs thanks to a song.
Oh,
Like horrible histories. So that means just so I can know the names of them, when we can teach you that song.
Oh yeah.
I remember it.
Yeah. Brilliant. Fantastic. So Sir Isaac Newton was British, knighted by Queen Anne. He went to Cambridge University.
And
yeah.
And for people who might be from Oxford, sorry for mentioning that name.
It doesn't matter, but you like Cambridge though, don't you?
I like both.
Okay, you like both. So he went to Cambridge University, but he was really clever. He was a physicist, he was a mathematician, and he was an astronomer. And he actually also, I think, studied theology or contributed to the studies of theology. So that is theology, things to do with religion and stuff like that. But mainly we focus on physics, maths, and astronomy.
I've heard of astronomy.